don't think it's any surprise to say that the 2023 Arizona Cardinals are going to look absolutely different. We have so many unrestricted free agents, a lot of decisions to be made heading into the 2023 season. Who do we re-sign and who do we let walk? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Before we get started, definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content on the road to 12K, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do it without you guys. Also, follow me on all my social platforms. Everything will be in the description of the video. All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into this list here that we have for players that are set to be unrestricted free agents for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if we do disagree on something, definitely let me know in the comments below where you are going to disagree on me with. Now, please keep in mind that this is probably a list with 25 plus players on here, so there's definitely going to be a disagreement there. So let's dive right into it here. Let's first start off with Justin Pugh. Now, there was a video put out from Justin Pugh saying that he is not retiring, but he's looking to go into a contending team. Now, is that the Arizona Cardinals? Some might say no, some might say we're actually going in a rebuild mode. So for the sake of this specific video, I'm going to say Justin Pugh, I'm going to allow him to walk because I don't think he wants to come back here. Now, if he does want to come back here, I'm more than willing to provide him maybe a one-year deal. I'm cool with that personally. I liked what he has done when he was able to stay on the field, but you know, the injury bug kind of plagued a lot of the Arizona Cardinal players, and obviously we knew how the 2022 season ended up coming out. So Justin Pugh kind of in the borderline in my personal opinion, but for this scenario, I'm going to allow him to walk. All right, now let's move on over to AJ Green. Now, we did get the news that AJ Green did decide to retire, so I hope nothing but the best for him in his retirement. Let's move on over to Matt Prater here. Now, at one point, I really did like Matt Prater, but man, this year has been very, very inconsistent for Matt Prater. He's also been through some injuries as well. I think it's kind of time to move off of Matt Prater. Now, if you're going to ask me, who are we going to replace him with? That's a very good question. At this very moment, I don't 100% know. Now, I would allow Matt Prater to walk personally. I think it's time. Now, let's move on over to the next player, Kelvin Beachum. The guy that seemed to be really the only guy available on the offensive line throughout the entirety of the year, right? Kelvin Beachum. I would love to bring him back. I truly would. Whether it's like a 1 to 2 year deal, whatever he feels like it's necessary for him and his family to, stay within the Arizona Cardinals organization, I would love nothing more than to bring Kelvin Beachum back. Right tackle, and honestly, I think he's very, very good, right? I think he's very good in what he's doing. Now, obviously, he is aging as well, but like I said a little earlier, he seemed to be the Iron Man in the offensive line because he was really the only one that we could really depend on. So Kelvin Beachum is a stay for me. Byron Murphy, a big name out there. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are like, keep him at all costs, right? And I'm kind of in that same boat as well. Now, granted, this last year, he only played 9 games. He had a lot of injuries, plaguing him from staying healthy, throughout the entirety of this 2022 season. Now, he hasn't had the best season in terms of stat-wise, like fumbles, interceptions, stuff like that, which sucks, right? Especially because at one point, Byron Murphy was supposed to be your best cornerback heading into the 2022 season, and it just didn't really transpire a lot just because of a lot of injuries. But he's 25 years old, so I would love the Arizona Cardinals to re-sign him, and this is going to be one of those situations that we might have to do a multi-year deal, which at this very moment I'm up and board for doing that. So Byron Murphy, I want him to stay with the Arizona Cardinals in a multi-year deal. Now let's move on over to Cody Ford. I think we can keep him as well. Now I get it, the trade that we ended up trading him for didn't really work out. Now I feel like none of the trades that we ended up doing in the 2022 season really worked out for the Arizona Cardinals. I would like to keep Cody Ford more for depth more than anything, so it would be a cheaper deal, maybe like a 1 to 2 year deal type of stuff. So it wouldn't be anything like your bona fide starter unless he actually proves his worth in training camp. But I would like to bring Cody Ford back for the specific situation that he has a relationship with Kyler, and at this very moment, right, like we're kind of needing help in the offensive line. So I would like to keep him back. Now let's move on over to Nick Vigil. I don't really know too much about him. I want to see Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins take that extra step. So I'm going to have Nick Vigil either be in the practice squad or just kind of let him walk. Let's move on over to Tanner Vallejo. I do like Tanner Vallejo. I really do. If we do end up keeping him, he most likely will be depth more than anything, but I would like to bring him back in, maybe like a one year deal, that type of stuff, right? Let's move on over to Andy Lee. Andy Lee, I still do think that he is good. Now, if the Arizona Cardinals can possibly get another punter, right, in free agency, then at that very moment, then we might have to make a decision from Andy Lee at that very moment. But I still think Andy Lee's good. I still do. So I want to keep Andy Lee back. Yes, he's aging, but maybe a 1-year deal, kind of a Band-Aid fix until we can actually get our punter of the future. So Andy Lee, I do want to bring him back. Zeke Turner, I like him, right? We saw a lot of Ezekiel Turner, especially towards the end part of the year because there was a lot of injuries more than anything. I like them in special teams. In the linebacker position, I don't know. Depth, right? I guess if we sign him, depth more than anything, or a practice squad type of guy, I don't mind him at all. Let's move on to the next guy, Tristan Hill. I'm going to allow him to walk. Let's go on over to Darrell Williams. At one point, Darrell Williams and James Conner seemed to be a tandem to be reckoned with, right? Darrell Williams still can be a good running back, but I think this very moment, I'm going to allow Darrell Williams to walk because I want the Arizona Cardinals to possibly get another rookie in this draft, maybe a 4th or 5th round or something like that. Antonio Hamilton. I liked what he gave to us. I really, truly do. I don't think Antonio Hamilton's coming back because I really hope the Arizona Cardinals really pulls the trigger and getting some really good young cornerbacks within this draft. Now, as of right now, in my opinion, I hope we bring back Byron Murphy and, Marco Wilson hopefully makes the next step. But I don't think I'm going to allow Antonio Hamilton to walk. Will Hernandez is the right guard. For him, that one's kind of tricky for me as well, just because of where we are at within our offensive line. Just really depending on what happens in the draft can really determine the future of Will Hernandez or not, right? I would be bringing him back on like a 1 to 2 year deal as well, just maybe more for depth, especially if we can't address the right guard position in free agency or in the draft. So I would bring back Will Hernandez. He wasn't able to stay healthy, which is unfortunate. Charles Washington, special teams / safety. I guess practice squad, or small deal, more than anything. I guess we can keep him, right? And then Steven Anderson, tight end. We saw him the moment that Zach Ertz got hurt, right? But what I would love to see is Zach Ertz and Trey McBride just take that extra step. That's what I really want to see. So Steven Anderson, I guess he could just walk. Chris Banjo, let's move on over to him. I always liked Chris Banjo. I truly did. Now, Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson's not going anywhere. They're really not. So if it's depth more than anything, I would like Chris Banjo to stay as a member of the Arizona Cardinals because I really do like him in his veteranness and what he brings. Obviously, not a multi-year deal, but just like a 1 to 2 year kind of Band-Aid type of thing is what I see with Chris Banjo. Now, Aaron Brewer, obviously a no-brainer, needs to come back. Let's keep it going here. Max Garcia, I'm done. Let him walk. Max Williams, I really did like him. He just can't stay healthy, right? He can't stay healthy. And the same thing with Steven Anderson, although I like Max Williams more. I want to see that Trey McBride and Zach Ertz tandem more than I would like to see Max Williams. So I'll definitely let him walk. Zach Allen, a big name out there, right? Somebody that we absolutely must keep, right? At least in my opinion. I think we got to keep Zach Allen for sure. Now, in terms of stats-wise for the 2022 season, 23 solo tackles, 5.5 sacks, and he was basically the guy that was right next to J.J. Watt all the time, what it seems like, right? And I do believe that this guy can really elevate when J.J. Watt is not there, or at least that's what a lot of people are hoping for, because if we could somehow maintain Zach Allen or get somebody in free agency, or maybe get somebody like a Jalen Carter to be in the middle of that defensive line, I think, sky's the limit for our defensive line to keep building the pieces on there. But I would like to bring back Zach Allen in a multi-year deal. I think he has proven it. I don't think it's going to be like a top of the chain, but if he's willing to work with the Arizona Cardinals, I would love to bring him back in a multi-year deal. So he is an absolute re-sign for me. Ben Newman, I'm going to allow him to walk. Farrell Cooper, I like what he's done. I'm going to allow him to walk as well. Camus Gergier-Hill, allow him to walk. Billy Price, that's tough. That's a tough one because if we can't address it in the draft, we almost are kind of, strapped to keep Billy Price. Now, if you don't know, there is a rumor out there saying that Ronnie Hudson most likely will retire, but he's waiting until like June or something like that to actually officially retire. So I think Billy Price needs to walk, but we definitely need to address that position. We need to address it, but I got to let him walk. Josh Jackson, cornerback, got to let him walk. Let's see here. Rashad Coward. I don't know. I think Rashad Coward, I think he's a good cornerback. 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 I think he's maybe a 1-year deal, maybe re-sign, but just on a small deal. Corey Komet was only just a band-aid fix more than anything. I like what he has done to kind of help us out, but definitely go ahead and let him walk. Trace McSorley, I think that project is over at this very moment. Let him walk. Michael Dogby, I want him to work. Every single time I see his name, I want him to work. I truly do want Michael Dogby to work. And we've seen flashes here and there, right? If he can stay for a depth piece more than anything and he's okay with that role, I'm completely okay with re-signing him for like a 1 to 2 year as well for Michael Dogby. So there's that. David Blau, at one point I was pretty high on him, right? But honestly, I think at this very moment, David Blau is a walk at this very moment. I think it's going to be not Trace McSorley, I'm sorry, Colt McCoy and whoever the Arizona Cardinals decides to bring in for that Band-Aid for when Kyler Murray comes back, completely healthy. Sean Harlow, that's a tough one. I would say keep Sean Harlow under the understanding that we are trying to find a forever piece in that position, right? Because like I said, Rodney Hudson's up in the air, right? Billy Price, I don't want to see anymore. Sean Harlow, I would give him a little bit of an opportunity, especially if this is going to be more of a rebuilding year more than anything. We don't know, right? He might actually surprise us. So I would say keep him on a 1 year, maybe 2 year deal, but I think 1 year deal seems a little bit more realistic for me. Chase Whitaker, I would say keep him, right? Practice squad, 1 year deal, something like that. I'm okay with that. No, I'm going to move on over to Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch, oh my God. Let's be honest here. There was a lot of these games that he was benched for Rondale Moore. There's a lot of these games that he wasn't even on the field at all. And I just 100% didn't understand it. I don't understand why. Greg Dortch, for the little production that he has had, this year, 52 receptions, 467 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, this guy is absolutely baller. He's a playmaker, and I would love to bring back Greg Dortch. Now, like I said earlier in my other couple videos, I don't really get what I want a lot of the times, and I think this is going to be a heartbreak because I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are going to bring back Greg Dortch, but I would love Greg Dortch to come back. I want to see him back on the field. I think he's good. I truly think he's good. Let's keep it moving here. Let's go over to Anton Wesley. We need depth in the wide receiving role, right? Especially if DeAndre Hopkins does leave, right? I think it's very important to kind of address that. Now, obviously, Anton Wesley is not DeAndre Hopkins, and we're all fully aware of that. But we need that tall, big-bodied wide receiver, and Anton Wesley can provide that for the Arizona Cardinals. So for me, I think he is a keep for maybe a 1 year deal, that type of stuff. And I don't think it's going to be anything very expensive. Now, let's move on over to Jonathan Ledbetter. Let him walk. Joshua Miles, right tackle. I guess depth more than anything, right? Small contract deal, that type of stuff. And then Nate Hairston, cornerback. That's a walk for me as well. Now, let me know what you guys are thinking. And any names that I said walk or keep, anything that you would do differently than I would have done, and let me know where I messed up, right? Or where you agreed with me at, right? Definitely let me know in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen. The 2023 Arizona Cardinals are going to look absolutely different. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cards.